Hello! In this video we'll be going over the core new features which have been added to QuerySurge version 14.2. The first feature I'll be showing you is QuerySurge AI. QuerySurge AI allows testers to create and update query pairs without needing any SQL knowledge. Once this feature is enabled, you'll see a new AI button added to all query windows just like this. Simply click the AI button to open the QuerySurge AI interface and you're ready to begin. On the wizard window, I'll click the next button here and I'll be prompted to select a connection for my query. QuerySurge will use your connection information to pull metadata information as well as to determine the dialect of the SQL statement to generate. For my example here, I'm going to select zcity source, and you'll see that QuerySurge automatically identified that this is a MySQL connection, and all of the SQL that's going to be generated is going to be for MySQL. If for some reason we want to change our dialect, we can click the drop down right here and select a different SQL dialect to generate our queries with. If we're okay with the dialect that QuerySurge has selected, we can click the next button and proceed in the wizard. What you'll see on the screen is metadata which QuerySurge was able to extract from the connection setup. This includes schema, table, and column names, as well as the underlying data types for each one of those columns. By selecting and adding the metadata to our AI request, we're able to get a more accurate result when generating our SQL. QuerySurge AI can also generate when no metadata is selected. For my query, I'm going to add all columns from the sales table, which can be found right here, the purchaser table, and finally the sale item table. Now that I have all the metadata which is relevant for my query, I'll click the next button. On this screen, you will see a chat interface with QuerySurge AI in which we can now start generating our SQL. In my case, I want to create a query which gets customer first and last names for anyone that purchased an item that was $300 or more. To do this, I'm going to need to provide some information about our table structure. First, I need to join my sale to my sale item table. So I can tell QuerySurge AI to do that by saying join sale to sale item, and now I need to specify the join condition. And in my particular case, it's a column called sale ID. So I can say on sale underscore ID. Now this gets me all of our items to our sales, but I now need to link to our purchaser table which contains our customer names. To do that, I'm just going to tell another join condition, in this case, join sale to purchaser, and I'm going to purchase on ID purchaser. If I hit enter, we can see that QuerySurge AI will start to automatically generate our SQL for this particular join condition. As you see, it's listing out all of our different columns, as well as our join condition right here. Now, QuerySurge AI is generating a few too many fields for us. We only really want our customer name. So to filter that down, all I need to do is tell QuerySurge AI to modify our query to only return our full name. So I can say update query to only return full name. And as you can see, QuerySurge AI is thinking and has now modified our query to limit it only to our full name field. But as I mentioned, I wanted the first and last name. I know that full name is my first and last name concatenated together with a space. So I can tell QuerySurge AI to split my first and last name from my full name. So I can say split full name into first slash last based on a space separate. And we can see that QuerySurge AI is thinking. And what you'll see right here is it's automatically creating the SQL to split my first and last name from my full name with that simple English explanation. Lastly, here I need to add my filter condition. As I mentioned, I only want items which are greater than $300. So I can say limit query to only include items which are greater than 300. QuerySurge AI is thinking and now modifying our price field, which is coming in from our sale item. And you can see right here, it has now created a fully functional SQL statement based off of all of my conditions. I'm getting my first and last name. I'm filtering my price based off of items that are greater than $300. I can save this query directly to my query pair by clicking the Save button right here. And you can see it says Copy to Source Editor. And once I click that, it drops it right into my query pair for testing. Now I have a pre-built SQL statement which required absolutely no SQL knowledge of the data platform that I'm dealing with, which is really useful for quickly creating tests and expanding out your existing testing flow. The next feature I'm going to show you is our strategy wizard. Our strategy wizard simplifies the process of testing your strategy reports and dashboards by guiding you step by step through the creation of a test that's ready to use in QuerySurge. To access the wizard, open any query pair or staging query. From the connection dropdown, select your configured strategy connection and click the strategy wizard button here. Once open, we'll click the next button here and we will see our project explorer. This will allow us to navigate and select the asset which we'd like to test. In my case, my asset is located in Public Objects, Reports, Subject Areas, Sales and Profitability Analysis, and then its name is Sales Dashboard 2. Now that we have our dashboard selected, we can click the Next button. QuerySurge is automatically going to pull if your particular report or dashboard contains any prompts. And you can see here, this particular report does require prompts in order to run. We can select any of the options available. So in this case, I can add additional regions to my prompt list here. And then once I have my required selection filled out, I can click the Next button, which will navigate to any additional prompts that may be required to enter. In this case, I can add different selection categories. I'm going to keep this only as electronics and click Next. On this final screen here, after all prompts have been answered, we'll see details about the report in question which I'm looking to test. Some of the details that are available to you is the name of the dashboard in question, the dashboard's ID, and its full path. The next section here, which is our dashboard visualization selection, allows us actually to change what particular visualization QuerySurge will test. We have a few different options available to us that we can change. The first is the chapter. In our case, our particular report only has one chapter called Q4. The page, again, we only have one page in this particular dashboard called Summary Metrics. And then finally, the visualization. If we have one or more visualizations on our particular page, we'll be able to select which visualization we want to extract data from. In my case, my particular report has two visualizations. One's called Revenue by Category, and the other one is called Units per Year. And we can see some detailed information if we hover over them, such as the visualization type. If I select Units per Year, we'll see that our query is going to be automatically updated to reflect that particular visualization. QuerySurge will automatically generate three different types of queries. The first is dashboard visualization data, and this will extract the visualization's underlying data, so that way you can test it against other reports or other systems. The dashboard metadata will include information such as the different columns that are coming back from a particular visualization. And finally, the internal dashboard SQL is the SQL that's actually being generated from strategy itself. To access this particular query, I can copy this directly to clipboard with this Copy to Clipboard button, or if I want to replace it directly in my editor, I'll click this Replace Editor button. And what this will do is it'll update either your source or target queries with the SQL that you've generated from the wizard. I'll click the Replace Editor button here. Give us a nice little warning just so that way we don't overwrite any of our existing queries. and I'll click Yes. What we can see here is that our query has now been edited on our source side, and we can close out of our strategy wizard. So I'm just going to click Close here and Yes. And this is a fully functional query that can be executed against strategy without any modifications. It includes the particular report and visualization we wish to test, as well as all of the prompts that we have configured through the wizard itself. These prompts can be modularized if you want to use something like a snippet. That way you can change the particular answers that you're passing through. And that's all that's required in order to test a strategy report. Another new feature that's been added to QuerySurge is the ability to show and hide columns in your result set. This makes it much easier to analyze your failures that are coming back from your source and your target. To hide any column, all you need to do is navigate to the column in question, right-click it, and go to Column Visibility. You can hide a particular column, you can hide all other columns, show all other columns, or toggle individual columns visibility. This makes it really easy to analyze your result set when you have large numbers of columns being returned back from your query pairs. In the report that I'm showing here, we have sales revenue by state, a bar chart which is repeated multiple times by year. This is because this particular report contains sections. You can determine if your report contains a section by editing it and looking in the top right. Under report structure, you can see here a section has been created which groups of this particular graph by year. To test an individual visualization in a section is incredibly easy. And I'm going to jump over to QuerySurge to show you exactly how that's done. Here in QuerySurge, I have an existing query pair that uses our SAP Business Objects metadata query. This query extracts metadata from any report in Business Objects. We can use this information to understand how to extract visualizations within a specific section. To run the metadata query, we'll need to provide a few details, all of which are easily accessible in SAP. This includes the document ID, as seen here, the report name, and finally, the particular visualization name that we want to get data for. Once we run this query, we can view the extracted metadata directly in QuerySurge and use that for creating our query pair. To view and extract the metadata, we'll go to our Design Time Run tab here. In my case, I've already executed this query, but you can always execute it with the Run button here. To view the results, we'll click the View Query Results button, and this will contain the metadata for our particular visualization. As you can see, it has our report, the element that we're asking for metadata, as well as all of the sections for this particular item. So if we wanted to grab a particular visualization's data, all we would need to do is grab the information on the section in question which we want to test. In my case, I want to grab the section for 2019, but you can grab any section that's available to you. Now that I have my section information, I can start querying the data behind my particular visualization. And I have another query that's already been configured with our 2019 section. So I'll close this out and I'll hop over to that query. What you'll see here is it uses our standard query for SAP Business Objects, which is our Web BI Report version 2, and it takes a couple of core parameters. Again, we're going to pass in our document ID, our report name, our visualization name, any parameters that are needed for our test to run, and then finally here our section information. And this is for our 2019 section. If I go to my Design Time Run results, which I've already executed for this particular query pair, what you'll see right here is the data from this particular visualization. Absolutely no coding is required to get section information and use that directly in QuerySurge. Thank you for watching this video on what's new in QuerySurge 14.2. To learn more about other features included in this release, please visit our webpage at QuerySurge.com.